This is verse 11 of the 22nd chapter of the Gospel of Matthew. Jesus is completing really the second part of the parable he tells about the wedding feast put on by the king. Those who were the original invitees have rebuffed the invitation and received the consequences thereof, but now he moves to a second aspect of this story, and it's reflected now in verse 11. So es eothon, from es erchomai, entered. This is an aorist participle. The subject of the participle is hobasalus, so the king, da postpositive, so the king having entered. Theosasthai, this is from theaomai, means to look, to see, but carries with it the idea of looking carefully, intently, examining, investigating is more the idea. And so the king has entered in order to look carefully, examine, tous, the accusative of the article, anakemenus. This is from anakemai. This is the word that has to do with the guests. It's rooted in a verb that means to recline, and of course that was the notion of a guest, one that reclined at dinner. So the king has come in examining the guests, and in so doing, Aden, Ado, I see. This is the third person singular, aorist active indicative. He saw, eke, a declinable adverb there, anthropon, a man, in opposition to it, uk, indumenon. This is from induo, means to be clothed. It's in the passive, so not being clothed is the idea. It's the perfect, so he hasn't been and continues to be not clothed properly. Some see in this, and there's probably some truth to it, the ancient custom that when you went to a celebration that was put on by nobility or some very wealthy person, there'd become a kind of a light outer garment that would be provided to give a kind of uniformity to the clothing that was worn at the thing, and so that may be, at least in general, the idea. What it means, of course, is somewhat more disputed. But in any event, he saw there a man not clothed, and then induma, the same word really. This is the noun form with clothing, a gamu of a wedding. He didn't have the proper clothing. Maybe he didn't simply dress appropriately. Maybe he came in more or less in clothing of the street, or maybe he didn't have was not wearing the clothing that was provided by the host. And, one way or another that can be disputed. More profoundly, of course, is the question, what does it actually stand for? Some have seen it as some idea of the imputed righteousness of Christ. That may be distantly the idea. More practical, I think, application is simply that within the church, within the gathered community that is visible, there's always going to be those who don't quite qualify to be there for lack of faith, for lack of proper acceptance of the gospel, for whatever reason. It's the same principle that's found in the parable of the wheat and the tares and so on, that idea that it's a mixed multitude, you might say, within the church. And so for whatever reason, here we have somebody who is there, present visibly, but not appropriately clothed, and thus he is not appropriately a guest in this celebration and is going to be treated accordingly.